I have been using this fantastic workhorse of a camera for 3 years exactly, and I just looked at my channel. I've never made a video about it. I've never made a video about the Sony A7 IV, which is insane to me because I love it. I've been using it for 3 years. It's been my only camera. I've gotten the heat warning one time on it in its entire life, so I'm not sure if it's just like a great model. This video is sponsored by Squarespace. All right, so let's first get out of the way the things that I miss about my Sony A7S III, because that's what I came from. The biggest thing, in my opinion, that's missing from this camera, the Sony A7 IV, 4K, 120 frame per second video. That's just something that's like really nice to have. It does 4K 60 frames per second. It does crop in on the sensor in order to do that. So that's something to keep in mind. But I decided when I gave up my A7S III, I didn't really need 120 frames per second. And do I film a lot of slow motion? No, I don't. Like it's not, that's in my mind, I just thought it's not that big of a deal. But that said, it is something that I miss. Having super crisp 4K, but also 120 frames every second, like it's just a useful thing. It's nice when you have a tool. It's nice to know you have that tool in the tool belt. Even if you don't need it, you just like, yeah, I got the tool. I could fix that if I wanted to. So to not have that, that's tough. I'm sitting here trying to think. I honestly think that's the only thing that I miss. Like that's the only thing that this camera doesn't do, that my A7S III did do, that I miss about my A7S III, which is crazy. Like, because the A7S III is, I think, $1,000 more expensive than this camera, and it's just such a beast of a camera itself, you know? So yeah, what do I love about it? I mean, form factor for one thing. I use these Tamron lenses on it. I have this Tamron, I also have a Sigma 24-70, and then I have a Tamron 70-180. But this Tamron 17-28 is, you know, form factor, like, it's about the same size, I guess, as the camera. It's not a massive lens. It's a very easy camera to throw in a bag that isn't a camera bag and like be able to carry it around with you, be able to pull it out and use it. You know, everything in terms of like audio processing has gotten so good now in post-production that I feel like even if you're just using on-camera audio, you're still gonna be able to get something that sounds totally fine and usable, even without like a big fluffy mic or without a lav or whatever. So like you really could just have lens, camera. The thing that prompted me to make this video is that I was shooting behind the scenes for one of my buddies the other day, and I had to leave. He started using the camera and he texted, he's like, A, the battery life on this camera is insane, and B, touch to focus, because he's like on the production side of things, he's still using for the most part manual focus. Touch to focus on the back of the screen is so nice. It's something that I've come to take for granted. Like obviously I had that on the A7S III, but any of you who have been here for quite some time know that I started vlogging with a manual focus lens, and people thought that I was insane, and I thought I was not insane until I switched to autofocus and just saw how incredibly easy it is. So for behind the scenes, like for the type of freelance stuff that I do, which is like somewhere in the middle of a cell phone video UGC style and a high production value, having autofocus, having touch to focus, lenses that are fast enough to be able to just do what you want them to do, you know, it just makes everything so much easier. But you knew that. I was literally the only one who didn't know that in the whole world.
Squarespace has got some awesome new stuff going on. First is design intelligence. It's 2 decades of industry-leading design experience combined with AI to help you craft a beautiful, more personalized website quickly and easily. Second is Squarespace Payments. You can manage all of your payments right in Squarespace and give your customers more ways to pay with all the regular methods plus ACH direct deposit, Klarna, Afterpay, Apple Pay, and ClearPay. And lastly, right along with that, Squarespace invoicing. You can send estimates, proposals, contracts, and invoices right through your Squarespace site. Makes it super easy for your customers and for you as a business owner. If you want to try it out, go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and then when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/CodyWarner to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
I'm really good with its low light capability. You know, I assume that it's not as good as the A7S III because the pixels are smaller or whatever. There's many more pixels in the sensor on this camera than there is in the A7S III, but in my opinion, low light stuff has always looked good, always looked really good in this. So maybe that's just more subjective or something. The great thing, the huge advantage that I think this has over the A7S III is when you switch it into photo mode. Like, we've shot a couple of senior photos for friends, done our Christmas card photos, and they just, you know, the photos that come from this thing are just very high quality, high resolution. It shoots in RAW, obviously, so able to adjust completely. I think it's a photo camera first. I don't really think of it like that because I use it primarily for video, but I think it's a photo camera first that also happens to shoot fantastic video. So whenever I'm switching it over into photo mode, I know, you know, I'm not like it's gonna be, I know it's gonna be able to do everything that I need and want it to do. You know what I'm saying? As Patrick Tomaso tends to say, you know, these days, or maybe all the camera people, maybe everyone's saying this now, these days, it doesn't really matter what camera you have, you're gonna be able to create something that is extremely watchable. Like, it's not the camera that is holding you back. Maybe it's your phone, maybe it's your Meta Ray-Ban glasses, maybe it's your classic GH5 with a rock solid tank of a Voigtlander lens on it. Look at that thing. That is such a cool lens. I've always loved the Voigtlander lens. Speaking of, this is the manual focus lens that I started vlogging on. This is the camera that I started vlogging on. This is not the mic that I started vlogging on. You can make something extremely watchable at basically any level with basically any camera on the market today. So that's probably why I've never made a video about this camera, is because I'm like, yeah, it does the trick, you know? It's great at a lot of things. What camera isn't these days? So this is a 3-year-old camera. I don't think any of you are gonna be racing to run out and buy it, but you know, the reminder is, as cameras continue to get released, it can be super tempting to be like, well, I do want that, you know, 480 frames a second 4K, which, let's be honest, if that comes out and it's not too crazy expensive, let's just all buy that because that sounds awesome. It's easy to want to run to the newest cameras and the newest stuff, but just remember, you can probably make what you want to make with what you've got sitting right in front of you right now. I mean, like, technically that would be your webcam on your computer probably, or maybe your phone. Maybe you're watching this on your phone. So like, very literally,